We got a special guest joining us today, friend of the program, Flint's favorite daughter, the GWOAT, and now the first undisputed heavyweight champion of women's boxing, Claressa Shields. Does it get old hearing that yet?
No,
No?
no,
No.
I don't. People be like, "Oh, she won the Olympics twice." It never gets old. Never gets old.
So you have your next fight scheduled for July 26th at LCA against Lonnie Daniels, former champ. Can you just tell me a little bit about the process of how this fight came together?
Yeah, well, I can say that the fight came together with me definitely telling my team, like, look, I want to fight 2 or 3 times this year. I don't just want to fight in February and then don't fight till next year. I want to fight. Like I've been saying for the past couple of years, and I gave them a time frame within I wanted to fight. I said July, August, and they were able to reach out to all these girls and find us an opponent. Now we went from the top best to where we are now, and Lani was number two. First girl we called out, who we sent a contract to, was Hannah Gabriels. She turned us down, so we had to go with Lani. And Lani has belts. She's been active, and she thinks she can beat me in a fight. So this is a great fight to have, and I look forward to the challenge with Lani.
And the next thing I was gonna say is the saying goes, styles make fights. What is your kind of impression of this matchup with Lonnie?
She's not really calculated. She comes forward with punches. She got head movement. She's aggressive. Um, I got a feeling that she may think she's stronger than me. All these girls think that. Um, but I think that is her strong point, that she has like a no quit attitude. She wants to come forward and she wants to fight. She wants to brawl. And when you have fights like that, I mean, how can it not be a good fight? Because I'm not going to run away from a fight. So there we go. We're going to have us a good old fight, and hopefully, if she's tough enough, she can withstand my punch, and we can have a good 10 rounds. Or, you know, I'm going to work on my strength some more this camp, and I believe that I can knock her out. So if she come being too reckless, she gonna be sleep.
Well, your last fight was obviously very exciting against Danielle Perkins. You had it back in your hometown in Flint, and now you're bringing another fight back to Michigan. Was that always the plan, or was there any consideration for it to be somewhere else?
Um, it was consideration for it to be somewhere else, with marijuana testing and the faulty test and all this stuff. I'm not gonna lie, like I wasn't too keen on coming back to Michigan because of how I was treated, so to me, so poorly by the commission, and I wanted to of course I love fighting in Detroit. I love fighting in Flint. But honestly, if it didn't get cleared up with the Michigan Commission and they didn't clear my name, we had other venues that were interested in me fighting there. The Barclays Center, MSG, T-Mobile. We had other options, and I just was like, you know what? I, we had got it cleared up, and I'm gonna stick to my main goal is to sell out the Detroit Little Caesars Arena, sell out 19,000 seats, and then I can go and look at these other opportunities. But that is a goal of mine, and I think it's just like a goal for me and my city to just do that. And to show that, us Flint kids and us Detroit kids, that we can make it anywhere and we can do these great things in our careers.
And I wanted to ask you about the false positive situation too.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about how difficult that was for you to go through, seeing people trying to detract from everything that you've accomplished in the sport? And I guess has that given you any sort of extra edge now as you go into this next fight?
Honestly, I have been tested so much throughout this past year, just not only with boxing, but throughout friendships, throughout businesses. And to deal with the faulty test and deal with them saying that I was positive for marijuana and having people troll me saying that I smoke weed and all this stuff. Yeah, it was embarrassing, but also it was a thing of me just kind of, you know, letting my faith in God kind of take over, because one thing that there is your story, there's my story, and then there's the truth. And I knew that the truth would come to the light, and everybody who knows me knows that I've never smoked marijuana, I've never ate marijuana or anything. So to have to deal with that, like I said, it was very it was hard, but I didn't let myself fall into depression or anything like that. I just kept focused, um, kept my mind on my next fight, because I want to fight 3 times this year. And I just kept my mind on knowing that at the end of the day, I know that I'm a clean fighter and I've never done certain things. And regardless of the what the results were from the Michigan Commission, that that I was innocent, and I was always going to keep my innocence, like no matter what. And I'm happy that it was able to get cleared up. I don't think that all the networks that posted about me having testing positive for marijuana, because it was viral for days. I don't know if those same networks or whatever posted that it was a faulty test, and that it was wrong, and that I've never smoked weed, and that I proved my innocence. But I know that hey, I don't know. It is what it is, and I'm hoping that the Michigan Commission, that we can work hand in hand moving forward to at least up the nanograms, because 3.0 nanograms is nothing but a half puff of weed. I mean, of marijuana. So that's not even enough to even get you high. So to say that I had that much in my system, and then to blast me all over the social networks and social media saying that, and to play with my reputation, um, we need to get some different rules into place. So hopefully the Michigan Commission is willing to work with me to move that number up to 150 nanograms, like VADA and WADA, who test for the Olympics, and USADA test for the Olympics. They're they are there's a certain amount of, I guess, marijuana that can, I guess, help you or make you test, or that they claim is positive, and that amount is 150 nanograms. So the fact that I had 3.0 nanograms versus 150 doesn't make any sense. But I would like for them to kind of take those same rules into consideration, because there's going to be a lot of faulty tests, and athletes need to be treated fairly and given a fair trial before you just post everywhere that, hey, this person is suspended and positive test this and marijuana. Like, that's not a good look for an athlete who's trying to, take over the world, not only in the ring but also outside the ring.
And has there been any sort of communication with the Michigan Commission yet on reforming that, or are you still kind of working on getting that process started?
There has been communication, and we're still in communication. We haven't got the okay yet, to actually put these rules into place to protect the athletes. But we are working on it, and hopefully the Michigan Commission, is willing to do what's right and to work with us, and just understand where I'm coming from, not as a celebrity but as an athlete. I think that I work very, very hard for my legacy, and that needs to be protected and respected and treated fairly, regardless of um how someone feels about me outside the ring. How they don't like my personality or whatever the case may be. Is more of that all athletes should be treated fairly, especially when it comes to positive tests and drugs and stuff like that.
Well, I know something else you were dealing with during that Perkins fight. What was injury? You said, you
Yeah.
consideration of you pulling out, but you wanted to fight it in front of your home fans. You said afterwards that you were going to need surgery. Where are you at in terms of recovery, and how do you feel right now physically?
So I did everything possible to not have to get surgery, because surgery would have took me out of boxing for 8 months. And I just did not want to do that. So I've been in therapy, I've been in recovery, and I can say that my arm is a lot better. During the Perkins fight, I mean, it maybe was working 10%. It may have not looked like it, but that's how much it was able to work. And now I've been able to do some shock therapy, and I spent 10 days in Vegas, where I was with at the UFC training center. Thank you to Dana White for letting me use the UFC training center to recover my arm. They have some of the best doctors there. Shout out to Heather and shout out to Jessica, who helped me get my arm back together and gave me some workouts to do when I'm not with them to keep strengthening my shoulder. So it's It's about like at a 70% right now. So I believe that by the fight, it'll be at 100%. And I'll be able to work it and do everything that I need to do against Lani to get the job done.
Well, yeah, now you have another fight of experience down at heavyweight. What were some of your biggest takeaways from fighting Daniel Perkins that you're going to take?
My biggest takeaways from fighting Daniel Perkins is I'm way stronger than what I thought. I can fight under bad conditions and still win. Um, and that I'm just that girl. That's what I took away from that fight. I already known that, but I know it more now, and I have to put more respect on my power. You know, I think that over the years I've always been like, oh, I'm the most skilled. I'm in the best shape. I have the most stamina. Skills pay the bills, but I have the power to knock him over, and I really want to put some respect on that in my fights. And it's kind of hard to do that because when you think about how strong you are to me, it has always taken away from my skills to me. But when I focus on my skills, I can display my power better. So now I have to find a happy medium, think about both. But I took away from the fight that um, I am stronger than these girls, than these women. And I've always felt that I wasn't. I always felt that I could beat them in other areas and other arenas inside the ring. But now I'm seeing that at heavyweight, these girls cannot stand up to my power, and I need to make sure that I know that and embrace that inside the ring.
And obviously, you've headlined LCA before, and even in the last couple of weeks, we've seen how rocking it can get with the Pistons playoff run and how many people turned up for that. What are you expecting the atmosphere to be like when you make your return there?
I'm expecting 19,000. I'm expecting fireworks. Y'all, we're gonna have some surprises the day of the fight. Just even in the promotion, we're gonna have some great performances. We're gonna have another great walkout, and another flight outfit. I mean, it's gonna be. This will be my biggest fight in Detroit. This is what I can tell you, and I'm just looking so forward to. People are already sending me screenshots of them getting their floor tickets. Listen, do not miss out on getting your floor tickets to this fight. People like to hit me up last minute, ask me for tickets. There will not be any, so get your tickets right now. They are on Ticketmaster. Hey, I'm just really excited, but this is gonna be bigger than my last fight, bigger than any fight that I've had at LCA too. This is gonna be big.
Are you willing to share anything about your plans for the walkout, or are you keeping that under wraps until fight day?
You wish, man. You wish.
I had to try. I had to try. Had to try.
Maybe in the lead up, maybe I'll slip up and say something in the lead up, but we will see.
The last question I got for you before I let you go is you already mentioned it a little bit. Why should people buy their tickets to this fight? And if there's anything else that I didn't ask you about before, now's your time to share.
Listen, you want to come to this fight at LCA because you're gonna have two champions with no back down attitudes who are gonna bring you a fight. I know that sometimes boxing, that they underperform and give you, not good fights. This is gonna be a blockbuster fight. This is a grudge match between two champions. Um, Another reason is if you have never seen the greatest woman of all time fight in person, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out. I'm at the I'm at the peak right now of my career, and I say peak, not the prime, but at the peak, because there's still so much more to go for me to get to my greatest assets. But right now, I am discovering my power. I'm discovering uh just how great I can really be. And to have these fights, they're all historical. And honestly, there's going to be so many celebrities in the house. If you're not coming to see me, at least come and get a picture of your favorite celebrity because they will be there.
Awesome. Straight from the GWOAT's mouth. Always appreciate talking to you, Claressa. Looking forward to seeing more of you in the next few months as you prepare for this fight. So thanks again.
Of course. Thank you.